Today I will be showing you a premium head unit, an Android head unit. It's not just a head unit. This is a very powerful head unit, by the way. It has 360-degree camera system within it, so you can see right all the way around the van. However, I'm in contact with the manufacturers and we're unaware if it's ever been fitted to a van this size. So this could be the first one in the world to have this system fitted. They are keen to hear back from me whether it's going to work or not, so they can, well, focus a bit more on the campervan market as well. So it is a bit of an experimental project this. It may be an ongoing one with a couple of software updates just to improve it. I do not know yet, but we'll get it fitted into the van and go from there. And this is the head unit that I shall be fitting to the van. It's a Teyes CC3. I'll leave all the specifications popping up at the bottom of the video just to condense the video down because it is a long video. Now I did do an unboxing, decided to drop that. Yet again, it would have made the video about an hour long. Now the hardest part in fitting the kit will be your cameras, because your side cameras are fitted within your wing mirrors. In my case, it was the case of removing the mirror glass, splitting the clamshell part off from the wing mirror unit, unmounting the wing mirror unit off the door of the van, taking it across to the workbench, and with a hole saw cutting out the hole on the underside of the clamshell part of your wing mirror unit and fitting your dome camera within there. So I've now mounted the wing mirror back onto the door. I've also routed the cable from the camera where it, well, finally finishes here. It's got a short tail on the camera, and on the end of that short tail is a male plug that just plugs into the other extension part of your, well, wiring loom basically. Just a push fit plug. On the end of that plug there's a white wire. Now that's for, well, to be fitted onto your positive side of your indicator light. So I've got an indicator side repeater on the side of the wing. I'll just wire it into there on the positive side, so that should engage the camera to come on when you're turning left. Now the rest of this cable, along with the white wire, goes through that rubber conduit there. So from the door through the rubber conduit back into the bodywork of the van, and the black cable will be routed inside the dashboard and will be fitted onto the other plugs that will fit onto the head unit. I've also done this camera on the other side, fitted the front camera just underneath the Iveco badge and routed the cable through the engine bay. Now I have run the front camera cable and the rear camera cable through the bulkhead here. You'll see two wires, one's pink, one's white. The white one goes to the left hand indicator and the pink one goes to the right hand indicator. Now I did have to extend the rear camera cable, so I've cut it in the middle, the original camera cable, and fitted some Cat6 cable in between there. It's about 3 meters. I had to extend it. I have wrapped it in foil, then with electrical tape. Whether that's going to work I do not know, but I'm going to have to run that all the way along the chassis ladder, tie wrap back to it. I have pumped up the suspension, so I'm just going to go underneath there now and get it connected up. So there you go, that is the camera cable wire now in place. Runs along the entire length of the chassis. Now on here you can see a red wire which comes from this white wire fly lead from the camera cable plug, and that's the trigger wire for the reverse light. So as soon as you put it in reverse, that camera should switch on and should show up on the screen inside the cab. So that's the old head unit out, singled in. Do a compare test. There you go. That's the width of the new one. I doubled in one, and luckily for me there isn't much of a wiring job to do in here, because the old ISO plug has exactly the same type of wires and plug that they provide with this kit, new kit. However, we'll go for the wires. We've got a yellow wire, which is a live wire all the time, so straight from your positive post from your battery via an inline fuse, or from a positive post from the fuse box. We've got ignition live wire, which is red. We've got a ground wire, which is black, and we've got an orange wire, which is for illumination. So obviously when you turn the lights on, your display will dim. The only wire that I will be wiring up in this compartment is the brown wire, and that's the trigger wire for your reverse camera. So your camera screen will pop up as soon as you pop it into reverse via the reverse lights. So that needs to be wired up to the reverse lights basically. Two wires I'm not using because I have the absence of not having the steering wheel controls. So you got a pink wire and an orange and black wire. They're for your steering wheel controls, so obviously your volume controls and stuff like that. The rest of the wires are all speaker wires except the blue one, which is the live wire for your antennae. So if you've got like an old type antennae that pops up through with the bodywork, that's the feed for it. So seeing I don't really use these air vents, in fact I cannot remember a time me touching them, I've decided to mount the head unit here. Now obviously there were two air vents here, I've removed them, and using a multi-tool I've cut out a large hole here. I can still gain access to these controls, and this does slide into that hole. I will have to cut a bit more out just to make it a bit more flush, and I'll have to angle it a little bit as well. But I'll do that now, and we can move a little bit further forwards. So I've got the ISO plug, the camera cable plug, the aerial jack point, and somewhere down here is the GPS antennae aerial plug as well. So that's 4 plugs I've got to plug into this head unit. I don't have anything else to plug into, although I do have an external mic with, just pick it up, the jack plug on it. Unfortunately the plug's missing. I think you've got to wire up the 2 negative and positive wires into the plug. Now I don't have that plug. Never mind, because I don't use the phone when I'm driving. I generally ignore it, so I'm going to leave that off for now. It's not a big issue for me. But because I've got a nice thickness here of the plastic, and same on this side, I've worked out if I place the screws into this mounting point here and leave them protruding out for about 5mm, I'll be able to slot the radio in like that, and it should nicely tuck away behind that lip on the corner there and lock into position. And once I get the other side in, I'll be able to get the screws in on this side, and it will lock this side into position as well. It has got a good strong hold there, and there's no room for it to go up and down either, so the hole's just about the right size for that area there. So once that's locked into position, it's not going to come out again. Due to the lack of space at home, I'm going to drive down to the local retail park. Now before you carry out the calibrations upon the head unit, there are some measurements to take, and that would be the wing mirror cameras from the floor to the camera, the front camera from the floor to the camera, and also from the front camera to the calibration mat, the distance, and to the rear camera, obviously from the floor to the camera, and yet again from the camera to the calibration mat, the distance between the calibration mat and the camera. Now there are also other measurements to take into account. The side camera has a long throw to the rear of the van, so you've got to take the measurements, the total length of the van, which will be the captain measurements upon the head unit, the width of the van, the height of the van, the wing mirror height. So they're all the settings you've got to go through prior to calibrating the cameras. Now once you've gone through them settings, you can calibrate the cameras upon these calibration mats. Now you want to be aiming them aimer max, that's on head unit, to the corners of the calibration mat. Once you've got that all set up, you can go into further calibrations or trying to level out the surrounding area. Now I've done that just on the rear camera, and I'm almost got it perfect. So remember, it's the first time this system's been fitted on a van this size. However, hopefully future updates upon the head unit could improve the 360 camera as we go further forward. But I'm quite happy with it, it has come out quite well. So let's go and give the van a quick spin and see how this unit works. Right, I'm going to use the bird's eye view. So it's a view from the top, click on there, and I'll just have a drive around this car park so you can see what it's like with a view from the top. For me, this is going to be the best setting and the most useful setting. As we go around this car park, you can see the 360 cameras are working. Let's go around this corner. I mean, it's picking everything up. This is a good system, this. There you go. I'm going across the parking lines. It's picking those up. So what I'll do, I'll just park into a bay. It'll come up with the reverse camera. You still retain the 360 view. There you go. I'm now inside the box. So obviously when you're driving along, you could have this 360 camera system on all types of angles really as you're driving along. Primarily I use the bird's eye view, so it's the view on top of the van. I find that's the most useful view, to be honest with you, especially when you're in tight spots. I've actually been around this state 5 times now just to get these camera angles, so I'll probably end up getting pulled up by the police thinking I'm casing the place out. So as we come up to these junctions, you turn your indicator to the right, the camera angle will move to the right. I'm really impressed with this product. It's a good product, and like I mentioned before, with future software updates it can only get better. You've got to remember, this wasn't designed for a van, it was designed for a car. So to stitch all that together on an 8-metre van, I think it's brilliant. However, if your van is more than 8 metres, I think it would struggle. But as I alluded to, maybe with future software updates, it's something what Teyes could do. Right, I'm approaching another junction, the main junction, onto the main road that I just live off. It's always busy on this road. I'm driving back towards my house. I should have gone the other way around, to be honest with you, because it's really hard of an angle to try and get the van into. I'm going to have to shoot across the road, then shoot back in again. Right, approaching to the main driveway of my house. Now I will have to go across the road. That says quite tight for this van. Here we go, and this is where the camera system comes into play. That's the bird's eye view, and we're going down the long driveway to the house. So I'll do a quick overview of this head unit. Mine is the 10.5 inch screen, 6 gig RAM, 128 gig memory. This is the universal fitting kit what I've fitted upon the van. However, you can get the kits that even a kid could fit. The plug and play system for the Sprinter van, the Crafter van and the Vito van. Now it does come with a facial plate as well, so that head unit will sit nicely and flushly upon the dashboard of the van. Down on the bottom there I have all my apps I need for my Campervan. We've got the 360-degree camera angle inlay there, obviously the normal radio and the Bluetooth, so obviously I can play anything that's been stored onto my mobile phone. The sound quality on this is amazing, and I've just got a basic sound system in here. I mean, it's not special. I mean, it does give a good rich deep bass, and you can also adjust all those levels upon this head unit. I mean, I think it's something like 27 levels you can adjust upon this head unit. It's probably the best head unit you could buy on the market right now. Okay, downsides. Screen glare. Yeah, you do get a bit of screen glare off it because it is a glossy screen. The camera cable that goes to the rear camera could have been done longer, a good 3 meters longer, so I didn't have to extend it. Other than that, it is an awesome head unit. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.